We just bought all these pallets for surplus. Let's see what we got.
Where are we going to start?
So, which one should we start with? Well, I think this one's probably the most fun one. Not that.
Door latches?
I don't think that's. Oh yeah, we got some plastic containers. Okay, I don't think that's.
The most fun, he says.
I'll be obvious. I'll be transparent to you guys. Is that I already knew what I had bought there, and so I cherry picked this stuff based on what would sell. And of course, I wouldn't buy something if I didn't know what it was. Yeah. But occasionally we have opened a surplus box, and at the bottom of a crate is a Gold Cup pump. That has happened to us before. On this one here, this box is pretty rough shape. I'm not actually sure what's in here though. Looks like they just used it to throw in some more things here. That's another vane shaft. That's a single pump. Now this is these are threaded cartridge valves. This is a big product line that we used to never get involved in, but this warehouse that wanted to get rid of these, they had a whole list of stuff. I grabbed every single one of these threaded cartridge valves.
What's a threaded cartridge valve?
They can do various things, but it's like a valve that goes into an aluminum manifold. It's not quite as high quality or high response or whatever it does. It's a little simpler. This is maybe $100. Okay. Well, even just that check valve there is $800, and they have some of those valves that are $4,000. Mm-hmm. So it's just a simpler one, but they're usually pretty complex circuits. There you go.
Can you guess what it is?
Okay, for sure, don't say anything. These are for gear, things that Russell uses. No, they're not. They look a little different. The only thing I'm going to guess is that they're for gear pumps. But
yes, these are gear pump seal kits. A very small gear pump.
That's what threw me a little
There's
bit.
that lip seal in there.
This is what, that reminds me of the big ones, but I felt like it was wrong because it was so little.
I think these are the aluminum size. And you also tell us for the gear pump, the 10-digit number beginning with 3.
Okay.
That's a lot of the gear pump stuff that does that. That's a lot of seal kits. What else do we have in here?
Check valve.
More, yep, another check valve. More check valves. And what's that?
It's a valve of some sort.
It is a valve.
I just know D3W.
Yeah, it's
D1VW.
directional control valve.
Okay. What is the directional control valve?
It's just like if you had a cylinder and the cylinder extends and retracts, this would do it.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Cool.
And there's various configurations. Do you want it to extend in sometimes, or do you want it to retract this, or while it's changing over, do you want it to hold, or do you want it to allow it to flow freely, all that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is not like the D1 are the small size, and the D3 are the slightly larger size. I was most interested in this guy here, and this was a piston pump.
Whole pump?
Yeah, whole pump. And this PV Plus is a high pressure piston line. It's made in Germany. And we don't sell a ton of them, but when we do, it's nice. I was looking forward to a lot of those threaded cartridge valves. These ones here. They're tough to stock because it could take about 8 months to get them. And they fit nicely into our Cardex machines. People just pick them. They're all labeled, so you don't lose them as much. It's a very easy product to work with. Ooh, that is a lot of stuff. It's all Parker, because we are a Parker distributor. We're probably the largest stocking Parker distributor in the world.
So what is all this stuff?
Looks like here, so we have cam rings. So these would be vane cam rings. These are inside that cartridge, and they determine these are motor. Oh, this is a pump. It determines the flow. Looks like we got quite a bit of cam rings, but those are worth a lot of money.
What are these?
Seals, shaft seals.
Gear pumps.
Yeah, for a 30 series. So cast iron. I think it'll all be gone very fast. Yes. Normally, the surplus lots, sometimes you can be stuck with stuff for a while. I don't think it's going to happen on these ones. This one here is a C5 V12, so it's a check valve. And this is an old Denison product line. I kind of want to keep the packaging because customers expect that packaging.
We'll send them the video of this one.
There we go. Probably making everybody nervous holding that. There it is. So it's a check valve, meaning it allows the oil to go one way. If it tries to go the other way, then this poppet seals up against it. And the amount of pressure on that is determined by a spring on the inside, and it's called the cracking pressure. Put this back in the packaging here. I'll put this aside. Okay, what else do we have in here? This looks interesting. Okay, this is a triple vane pump shaft. For the Parker stuff, this is made in France. And you could tell it's a triple by the 3 splines for each cartridge. You just have to be careful. Sometimes this is a through drive, so a rear pump, and it's not actually this pump on there. But I saw the label beforehand, so I know it's not on this one. Okay, I don't know. Now, that one, I did not actually choose this one. So I sent the list out to some of the other staff that do the procurement or purchasing, and they asked me to get this for them. I would not have gotten this on my own. It's a product line that I am not as familiar with. Yes, it is a gear pump. But why did he choose this gear pump? There's thousands of gear pumps. Why this one?
Is it like the whole box? Like that's how big it is?
I think there's a couple in here.
Oh, okay. It's like what?
We'll see here. I don't know. That's what we're unboxing. Okay, well it's empty there. Oh, there's one. The whole thing. I think somebody was like, "Here, you throw this box out."
Oh, there's another one.
Oh, okay, it's got 2 in there.
A whole box.
That whole box. Well, there was clearly they only sold us the stuff that they couldn't sell, so they had some left over. 2 of these. Yeah, and that's a 2-stage gear pump.
Okay, other things I see. What's a MGG?
MGG is a small, like aluminum motor, and that's an old Gresson product.
What?
Gresson was an old brand. Remember that guy who's Aaron? He mentioned about Sunstrand and all that. Well, Gresson is like another brand that these guys gobbled up.
Okay.
So somebody who was 40 years ago, Gresson would have been a great big product name. Dana is in there. Dana's still around, but yep. So aluminum.
So little.
Yeah, they're pretty small.
What would that be used for?
Like a little conveyor belt.
Okay.
Yeah. Perfect example would be maybe running another little pump. Let's say you had a truck, and you had one pump and it needed to run 10 things. You could just run a hydraulic line to it, and now you got a motor wherever you want it. A very powerful motor too. As with all, that's why people use hydraulics. It's powerful.
Okay, P1.
Yeah, but this is a P1060 PA, which means it's metric.
And that's just a preference or based on a country?
I could tell you, nobody in North America buys metric pumps.
Okay, so that's very overseas.
Yeah, unless they got a machine that's from Europe. There are a few specialty ones. Husky injection molding, for instance, they put metric pumps into their units, but I don't even know if they still do that. I feel like that used to be a bigger thing 20 years ago, starting to go towards metric, but then it just stopped entirely. Yeah. Which is interesting though. Some of the bolts that are on the pumps, like the bolts that hold the compensator down on an SAE pump, are metric bolts. So they'll use metric.
But then
and
the
some,
ports are.
yeah, exactly. All the connections, anything that's connecting to something outside, shaft and the ports. And but electrical connections, like a DIN, is a very common one, and that's a metric connection. DIN being the German, I think the D stands for Deutsche, but the German standard of industrial standards. Yeah. So interesting thing is, Aaron, one of our viewers, commented about the labels on this stuff here, and a lot of the old Denison stuff still had the Denison label. And I was just noticing this now. This was the Denison product, and made in France, but it actually does not say Denison anywhere on here. And that's unusual. It used to always say Denison, even on the Parker stuff. I think we should open this up, and we should see, does the label, the tag, because this was a carcass, yes, it should have a tag in there. Does the tag still say Denison, or have they just really gone away from Denison altogether? Which would be a shame. It was a great product line. I believe he was the inventor of the piston pump. There should be a tag, but they always put it at the bottom so they get crushed, which makes them useless. Which, wouldn't you know it? This one seems to be missing its tag.
It's right there.
Oh, there it is. Because they used to put it on the bottom, they'd always get crushed. Now they find they don't get them crushed there. Let's take a look to see what it's got. I don't know what they're doing there. Looks like they.
Oh, it's got to be attached. No?
No.
Do you want a little holes?
They have holes, but they put on the shaft protector. That's strange.
Oh, with a.
They have a little O-ring on it. Oh no, is that a snap? Oh, anyways, we can see it here. It still says on the tag, Denison Vane Technology. So they haven't completely got rid of the Denison word. I think they purchased it 2005, 2004, around there. So it's been 20 years, and they're still keeping the name. Thanks for tuning in.